This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for creatives.
Welcome back, Popstars. I'm Rizzo.
I'm Benji.
And today we are reviewing the 2025 remake of Snow White, Disney's Snow White. I have always kind of had a appreciation for the original film. It was never one of my favorites, but I think as it got dark and scary, I enjoyed it. I could always pay attention and enjoy the artistry of it. That being said, I probably would never have watched this film that we're about to talk about had it not been a necessity for a review. And for today's sponsor.
You're still here?
Why haven't you made a Squarespace website yet?
I've rapped about it so many times now. You don't want an all-in-one website platform that'll help you stand out and succeed online?
You didn't hear me talk about the integrated SEO tools that help you show up more often to more people in global search engine results?
I know I've mentioned the design intelligence with cutting-edge AI technology that'll help anyone build a beautifully personalized website.
And I must have said head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/the Pink Popcast for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. At least 6 times now.
Yeah, but do it.
Go. Open a tab. Make a website.
Now. Get out of here.
Gone.
We have a lot of thoughts, so we'll get right into it. Engage! When did you say the original one came out?
37.
That is a long time, and it's so interesting that that was the very first Disney movie ever made. And in a lot of ways, this one could be the last one ever made.
Yeah, no, they're still gonna make more.
I wasn't super excited to see this, and not for any of the reasons that I'm sure a lot of shouty, angry men will lead you to believe. How are you feeling going into this movie?
Not excited. And by not excited, I mean I never really cared for the original Snow White, so this one meant almost nothing to me. It's the exact opposite feeling I had going into The Little Mermaid, where I was like, I mean, anything that you do, I'm gonna probably enjoy better than the original Snow White. I do hate the original Snow White. I don't hate it. I would watch it. It's cute. It's fine. I just found it incredibly boring as a kid. It just didn't appeal to me. I didn't like Snow White's bob then. I don't like it now.
Oh, no.
Like, it just is what it is. So, I came into this completely open-minded.
I wasn't necessarily excited, but that is because of the current state of the way I feel Disney tackles their properties. And it had nothing to do with Rachel Zegler in the lead role, a musician and an actress with whom I'm incredibly impressed with. She has a voice.
She's such a great singer. I was just in awe the whole time.
Her voice is powerful.
Yeah, I was like, she's such a great singer. And I've seen her sing like live on stage and stuff like that too.
Oh, yeah?
Like, she can actually sing. Like,
she can actually sing, and she has a great presence, and I really enjoy her. And also, despite the fact that I said that I do enjoy the original Snow White movie, I like it. I appreciate it.
And I also don't care about it.
I do understand where people come from in which they say it's not their favorite. I would say that the artistry of it and just the cultural touchstone of it is impressive enough for it to be a worthwhile watch. But I do comprehend why a young woman such as Rachel Zegler would look at Snow White and go, yeah, let's update the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Girl does nothing. Girl's kind of annoying. Girl knocks out. Girl waits for men to deal with everything. and there's validity to that.
I know there's a lot more nuance to the movie though, and the time that it came out and stuff.
Exactly.
And I know it's not just, oh my God, she just waited for someone to save her, but it obviously could do with a theatrical update in what we expect to see in movies nowadays.
Does it need one? Not necessarily. Was this the one that did it? But again, while I do respect the artistry of it, and like you said, there is the nuanced understanding when it came out. At the same time, I also don't clutch my pearls when someone says, I hated it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my favorite. And I think there are better role models to be had because again, I have the privilege as a man to be able to watch things and kind of go, man, that didn't represent me.
Oh, well.
I'll find something that does because there's so much stuff.
If you're a young woman growing up and Snow White's shoved down your throat, there's probably a part of you that's like, girl.
Oh, man, I don't want to grow up like you.
Get your shit together, you bob-ass princess.
No, not a bob-ass princess.
But if you want to know how we felt about it without any spoilers, Benji, what would you tell our audience?
I enjoyed it. It was a cute movie. I think it was done well. It's obviously sad that there was a lot of stuff that went on around the movie that kind of dampened the spirit of it. But Rachel Zegler, Zegler or Zegler? Zegler.
That's a great point. Maybe I'll say Zegler and you say Zegler.
Okay, Rachel
Zegler.
Rachel Zegler.
One of us is right.
I enjoyed it for the fact that there was so much music in it. Like, it was a musical. And what's funny is I never realized that Disney musicals, the cartoons, the way that they do their musicals was different from a musicals until you had your beef with Frozen and you were like, yeah, they sing in the first half and they stop singing pretty much for the rest of the movie.
Pretty much.
And I was like, what? No. And then I thought about it and then I was like, wait, like most Disney movies do
Absolutely.
that. So watching this one where it's like their start to finish, it's a musical, I really appreciated that. And I thought it was visually pretty. And I meant to ask, what did you think about the visuals?
I will say ultimately it is a harmless, fun endeavor. If you're bringing your kid to this and you're not overwhelmed with the angry, maybe valid voices on the internet that are just constantly shoving down our throats that everything Disney produces is horrible. If you're not in that world and you're just a regular family and you just want to have a regular day out at the movie theater, this is a fun movie. And to your point, yes, I did appreciate the fact that it was a true blue musical. Did I want to watch the music? Did I like the music?
Of course you didn't.
Ultimately, if you are looking for a musical Disney adaptation, this is a solid enough one, but at the same time, I have issues with it and just kind of what it represents in the grand scheme of just a lot of movies that are out nowadays. I think it is safe to say that for a movie that is the adaptation of the first feature-length cell animated movie ever, that it falls really far behind in terms of that legacy. Rachel Zegler is the strongest aspect of this film. And there are aspects of the movie that I found myself surprisingly engaged with. The not titular 7 dwarves that were not featured in the title. When they were on screen, as horrendous as some of their faces looked, as some of their horribly realistic 3D faces were rendered and looked, I did find myself more engaging with the film as it brought to life the original cartoon. And ironically, my biggest gripe with this film was that it felt like a few different movies stitched together. One trying to be an homage to the original, which I felt was actually stronger. And then the other parts, I couldn't help but think to myself, God damn, this looks like Wicked and every other fucking movie that's ever come out. Like, I don't even complain about the color now. I was like, you could not show me the opening scene from this, the opening scene from Wicked, some of the scenes from Little Mermaid. It's like, those are all the same goddamn villagers. It's like, they all live in the same goddamn kingdom.
I thought it was more colorful.
It is more colorful.
Okay.
But I just was finding myself a lot more bored. Yeah, they all look the same now. All these movies look the same. And you know what?
Seen too many musicals this year.
But you know what? Like I said, if you are wanting a musical, you're gonna get it.
This one is a musical.
And you'll enjoy it. I think it's still something that if you were interested in seeing, still be interested, and you'll probably have a good time with it, especially if you're going with friends and family.
Yeah, I concur with that. If you are a fan or not a fan of the original, but you like Disney adaptations, you just like Disney in general, you like fairy tale stories, because that's, to me, at the end of the day, for me, if I get a cute girl in a pretty dress singing her heart out in a magical forest, I'm happy.
And that's how we felt about it. So we'll take a moment for those of you who don't want any spoilers. Run! Run into the dark forest before we change our minds. This would normally be the part where I explain the plot and say, if you've seen the original, then you've seen this movie, but that's not necessarily the case.
No, very different.
The quarter of the movie that was adapting the parts that we had previously experienced, that was the moments where I felt I'm enjoying kind of how they're adapting this.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of life, even if that life is just 70 years removed. Is that, how long has that been?
It's 5 years from being 100 years old.
That's 100 years of goodwill.
Wow.
That they were able to ape and mold into something slightly interesting. Like, as soon as the huntsman took Snow White into the forest, I found myself engaging with the film. There have been other adaptations that I've enjoyed more than this one. Snow White and the Huntsman being one. I really liked that movie.
Fun, yeah.
But that is a gritty, dark remake.
Yeah.
And what I liked about this one, and what it should have leaned more into, is that it is a kid's movie.
Yeah.
It is a kid's fairy tale. I like when kids' movies are scary. I don't necessarily need everything to be grim, dark, and angry. I love the moment when Snow White, Rachel Zegler, goes into the dark forest and the forest becomes scary, but like scary in the way that a kid's movie can do scary.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that were translated from the original cartoon, again, 100 Years of Goodwill, that I could see the creativity still shimmer through, even if just barely. I really saw the stark contrast when we had been adapting Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. You know, we whistle while we work. Everything's cute. She goes, I gotta go leave and find my dad. New plot point. So she leaves to go find her dad. And then it was like such a stark switch of movies. It feels like it's shot completely different. She runs into the prince, no motivation whatsoever.
Well, I guess he's not even a prince in this.
Right, you're right.
He's a bandit.
My bad, he's a bandit.
I thought they were going to reveal later that he was a prince, but
they didn't do that.
They don't care.
She ran into him, they had a scene, and then she somehow finds her way right back at the dwarves' house.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of talks and meets, and then at a certain point, everyone leaves again, and she goes, all right, off to find my dad. I'm like, didn't we just do this? Didn't we just do this like
so
10,
funny.
20 minutes ago?
It didn't even occur to me. I was like, la, la, la. We were singing, and I was like, oh, what a beautiful forest.
More so than every other adaptation we've seen, this one had a very simple story, and you could see the stretch marks of them trying to add more to that
pull
story.
it out,
I love the idea of a campy queen just turning herself into an old hag to like fool somebody. That's great, and it doesn't need to be answered as to why you do that in a kids movie or a campy, grim, gothic fairy tale. You don't need to answer questions like that. Why is she transformed into an evil hag and poison an apple when she could have just like stabbed her? Who cares? This is a fantasy, it's a fairy tale. But when you try to make a realistic-ish type, typical one of these musicals that we're seeing a lot of now, where it's a little bit more grounded, you know, the wicked, oh, I want them to identify with how grounded they are type movies that are happening. Then I find myself asking, why'd this queen poison an apple when she could just have stabbed her? Or like, you could see how they're trying to fit the original story in, but it doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I was like, we're just clearly in a fantasy world. Like, I wasn't questioning it as much. Like, I will say, even Wicked, watching it in theater, the way we jump from scene to scene, or the kind of beats of it feel different than I felt like they did on stage. But going from animated to a longer feature film, real life feature film, I was like, okay, yeah, sure.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I again, I didn't come in expecting anything other than music. Some things were awkward. I wish they'd kind of played with her outfit a little more, updated it.
Are you talking about Snow White now?
Snow White, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I've never liked her dress. It's just,
it's kind of cute.
I hate it. There's too many colors. The shape is weird. I don't like it. It's a personal thing. If you like it, that's completely fine. I just hate it. But I appreciate that they tried to do something a little bit different with it, but also I feel like it just didn't make it much better, so maybe just leave it the same. I don't know.
What did you think of the dwarves?
Oh, I meant to start the spoiler section with fucking Dopey talked. What the hell? At first, when they were all being mean to Dopey, I was like, hey, what the hell? Dopey talked. At first I was like, what? And then him being the narrator at the end, I was like, I guess I kind of like that. Anybody else who's the narrator, I would have been like, yeah, sure. But like Dopey, I was like, oh, good for you.
Movies nowadays are just kind of bland. They're very safe. They have to be safe, especially when you're spending, close to $200 million on a movie.
Oof.
I mean, just make a weird movie. Have fun with it. The tone could have been more along the lines of Never-Ending Story, or a lot of those old 80s, 90s movies in which they were kids' films, but they were kind of dangerous and strange and ethereal and off-putting and immersive in the sense of, wow, this is not anything we've ever seen before. If you just like lean into the gothic nature of a Grimm's Brothers fairy tale, then you don't have to explain things. You can just be. You can just have weird stuff happening. And I just wish I felt like the people cared, you know, the filmmakers specifically. I felt like Rachel Zegler cared.
And unfortunately, people hated her for it.
I know.
Like, I'm gonna take this princess, we're gonna do something. I don't know if they media trained her or whatever. Obviously,
she's a Broadway theater nerd, and she's a woman, and they don't like that she's outspoken.
Obviously, you can come into a movie and talk about how we're gonna modernize it a little bit without completely being like, fuck the original. But it was like, she came in, she had a certain energy, and she was like, yeah, the original was old, it's dated, it's almost 100 years old. We're doing something different, and people were really pissed off about that. Last thoughts for me is, I think it was a very cute adaptation. A few times it did feel like it was giving Mirror Mirror, different types of Snow White adaptations. Right. And with Snow White being such a fundamental Disney thing, it's kind of like Cinderella, where Disney almost didn't have to do as much. They could have just really given us an extra like 10 minutes of content to flesh out a few more scenes and then called it a day like they did with Cinderella. At the end of the day, the movie is what it is. It was a very solid movie that was made in the first place, so you could have just leaned on it. The difference difference for the Disney one is that this is the official adaptation from the company that made it. Here you go. And it's like, yeah.
If you were interested in watching Snow White and you're still interested after what we've said, I think you'll probably enjoy it. It doesn't really overstay its welcome. Again, if you're a family and you're there specifically to see a movie like that, I think it's a very enjoyable time at the theater. If you're like me and you probably never would have seen it, nothing necessitates you needing to go see it. So enjoy having your free hour and a half to yourself. Ultimately, I enjoyed it because of Rachel Zegler. And I probably would have seen it on Disney Plus again. Because I like Rachel Zegler. So this has been the Pink Popcast podcast. We are doing these at least once a month. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. You can like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. You can also listen to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts.
That's that.
Until next time, I'm Rizzo.
I'm Benji.
Whistle while you work. You don't know how to whistle, do you?
I'm not a solid whistler.
I'm a Disney princess.
Their interaction was cute.
You're talking about the prince and Snow White.
Yeah, her and her prince were nice. They got to spend a lot of time together, so good for them.
And she talked.
Oh, I was like...
She got to talk to her prince.
She did get to talk to her prince. They got a song together.
I laughed at that part.
No, you left on the prince's song. You didn't leave.
Oh, yeah, their song was
but
fine.
Did you leave again on their song?
No, I might have checked out mentally.
You did, because I remember they said, if I'm asleep, then wake me up with a kiss or something. I was like, that's consent for the future.
Oh, yeah, I was fully...
And I go, that's consent. And you were like, what? It's like, girl, where are you? You are not here with me. It was so funny.